Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Madness Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 9th and 10th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish, they're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kilber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday nights as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday night, and that means Silverline's Wednesday Wham, and I'm your guest host tonight. Taking the night off, enjoying the fine weather down wherever he lives, and we've got a great folks here tonight. We're going to be talking the business of comics, always the future of comics. We can look back. We've got to look forward. We're talking about Amazon and Comixology, but we'll get to that in just a moment. As I said, my name is Scott Wakefield. I'm the co-creator of Team Patriots with my good buddy Rory Boyle, who joins us down there in his underground bunker that is unheated. Apparently, he is more attractive headwear. Why don't I go around the loop here, let Rory say hello. We'll go Rory to Barb, Rob, and then Aaron, and give a quick hello to all the folks out there on the interwebs world, and as far as we know, the universe they could be watching on Jupiter. Go for it, Rory.
Dobry wieczór, comrade.
Rory, I don't know. I saw watching Stranger Things, people picking up Russian accent over the airwaves.
I didn't think they allowed streaming from gulags.
He gets his hour.
There's no heat like that, so.
This is when you have a bunch of your friends staged as Russian guards come in and drag them away. No!
Yeah.
Great to be here. Like Scott said, I'm the co-creator of Team Patriots with him, and I'm hailing from almost very wintry Central Ohio.
Hey, I hear you're. I know you don't really root for the home team too much, but your Bungles seem to be doing all
that's what I'm
right,
hearing.
right?
That's what I'm hearing. Breaking away from it. I'm a
I
Browns.
know the Browns are your
fan,
team. I know the
so,
Browns are your team.
Happy.
yeah.
Yes, and an upset last week. My Bills. Yes, so very sad. What an exciting game though. 13 seconds. These
Every
field
game's
goals.
been like that. Every
Field
game.
goals
Okay.
determining them. But we're not a sports talk show
No.
tonight. Rory will go on, and Barb over there in mild and beautiful Minnetonka. Where are you, Barb?
Wisconsin. Yeah, we actually are pretty mild compared to the rest of the country for once. And Scott, your mouth does not match up with what's coming sound.
It never does.
He's always got a little delay.
It's good for me right here. I mean,
Yeah, I can.
Now you're good.
Yeah, he's good.
Okay.
So are you?
I'm Barb Kilberg, CFO of Silverline, inker, creator, colorist, and I have my own book, Divinity. So
Cooking bottle washer.
Yeah. Well, that's Roland. He's
we all
bottle counter.
Bottle counter. Yeah, she's the bottle counter.
Yeah.
There you go.
The bottle counter.
Well,
That's right.
wear a lot of hats when Roland. We're like the Avengers, right? He assembles. We come in. We take care of business as we need to. Not nearly as cool or as effective as the Avengers. A lot slower. A lot less action.
That was kind of the whole idea when we started Silverline up. Was that last time Roland did it? He was everything. He did everything, and it was just too much. So he says, if we do this, we get it off the ground. Everybody's got to jump in with what their strength is and kind of help out. And I says, well, I just retired after 20 years of being an accountant. He goes, you're the CFO.
Yeah.
And that was how that happened.
That's right. When you bring up the idea that volunteers you, right? That's well, this would be a perfect project for you. Okay, hey Rob, you say hello and tell folks who you are.
I am Rob Davis. I am the penciler inker of Twilight Grim with writer R.A. Jones. My biggest claim to fame for comics fans is I worked on the Star Trek books for Malibu and DC back in the 1990s. I'm working on a commission piece as we talk tonight, but I've also got a book coming up with Ron Fortier called Boston Bombers. It's a follow-up to a book that Ron did back in the late 80s, early 90s with Procalibur, and I've been trying to talk him into doing it for years, and I finally said, well, if I draw it, will you write it? And he says, yes! So I think he snookered me. But anyway,
there's a theme of that going on, getting roped into doing work.
R.A. also co-writes Divinity with me.
Yes. All right, and Aaron, say hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hey, Aaron.
Hey.
Anything else?
Well,
That's it.
Aaron has arted a few pages. I know he has an opus magnum, right? That the ink is still drying on. Yes.
Yeah. There's no ink actually on it. I didn't ink it, but the pencil's drying on it. I'm working on that tonight, and I'm encountering what all artists do when you get to the end of a project. You drag your feet. I don't know why that is.
Yeah. Just gotta get it. Yep.
Get it done.
Get it done.
And then I did Fire Rush, and I'm doing Obsoletes coming up, and I'm jumping into the second issue of that once I'm done with this, and that should be fun. But yeah, this will hopefully be finished by next week. I'm taking time to purposely. I just, you try to finish them, and then I have client work come in or something. He's like, "Hey, you free?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I guess." I need money, so yeah.
I guess I should probably work. I guess.
Yeah. Are you free? Well, it depends on whether you're going to pay me or not.
No problem.
So, Rory, thank you for throwing in your. We got a couple comments here that just came in during while we were saying hello to everybody. So hello, everybody. We're Wednesday Wham. Oh, wait, before I forget, thank you to our sponsors, great supporters, the Daytona Beach Comic Convention. That's coming up in September. They always treat us really well. We put up a big show there last September. Yeah, we had a great showing from all of our Silverline creators, and we did a poster and free posters and a bunch of free stuff. So I don't know what's in store this year, but thank you to the Daytona Beach Comic Convention people and all of you out there. Go click like, follow, share, all those so they get your support and love. And and Sunday night, our Kickstarter campaign wrapped up another successful campaign. And for everybody out there who is already checking your mailbox for stuff, it takes a little while. It takes a couple weeks because Kickstarter's got to give us our money, and then we finish up all the fulfillment. So it'll be a couple weeks, but we have never failed to fulfill. And we've got another one in the books. And so thank you everybody for supporting that. I believe this is in reference to Rory, Mr. VIP, Steam Patriots VIP, Richard Dunn. Never watched Hogan's Here. Oh wait, that was Germany. He's a little confused.
Yeah, mine here.
A little confused. And he gives us a woohoo. I think that is in reference to us for the Wednesday show. We have a boisterous woohoo from Richard Dunn and Shauna Apps. I'm shameless plug for her, illustrator of The Adventures of Boathouse Mouse. Not a Silverline title, but Shauna's an awesome person out there. She's got a cool kids book that she has illustrated, and then Richard Dunn saying he's telling somebody else, hey, you might be interested. Paige, are you out there? Paige, you might be interested. Enjoy this discussion. It's always enjoyable. Everyone in the world, everyone and their mother and brother should enjoy this discussion. So thank you, all you guys, for your comments out there. If you have questions, and we always say it doesn't have to be on topic, because while we stay strictly on topic, always we are like on train track. The train track topic. We stay right. What was that, Rob?
What? I don't know what you're smoking tonight.
We stay on topic. And the topic tonight, everybody, if you missed it right at the outset, is we are talking the business of comic books, and it's always changing. It is a long history of comics and their incarnation with sequential art moving to where we are today, and how it's distributed and how it gets in people's hands and how people consume it, and with digitization and all this sort of stuff. We have lots and lots of changes, and just like technology and everything seems to be changing faster and faster and faster, we have now Amazon and Comixology. What's the skinny, Barb? I don't want to throw you under the bus here and make you give us the info, but can you give us the short and condensed version of what's happening in the industry?
We don't have to meet you in an alley to hear this, dude.
Yeah. Well, they have combined forces. I actually don't know a lot about Comixology because I don't read the digital comics, but they're a cloud-based digital platform that you can get like 75 million, 200 million comics, at least digital comics from their platform. And I think that includes new releases. And so Amazon has now acquired them, and they are going to be closing down their platform very shortly. And I know that this was discussed last year, but it was delayed for quite a while, and now it's just finally gone through.
Really? Because every time I read on Comixology, every time I sign up, I have to sign in through Amazon. So maybe it was something that was still, because I thought they were bought by Amazon a few years ago. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe
now they're from what I'm understanding too is what Barb said. They're shutting down, and it's just going to go straight from Amazon. It has been an Amazon company for quite a while.
Yes, but you could get.
But they're actually they're dissolving the Comixology platform.
Yes, the website's going to go away. And from what I've been reading on Bleeding Cool, there are some bugs.
Yeah. Gee, Amazon and bugs, huh?
Yeah. But it's still there. It's still there. I go to Comixology.com.
And what doesn't Amazon own?
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They own a pharmaceutical company now too.
Yeah, Bezos. Yeah. What does that own?
And the thing that I'm hearing on Bleeding Cool is that, all right, I'm going to read you this straight off of Bleeding Cool.
Okay.
Right? Comment section.
Okay.
Not all new releases appear in the new release section on the Amazon site. This week there are 213 new releases on the Comixology site. On the Amazon site, when viewing all new releases, it caps out at 60. Unless you know the exact title and issue number of something that doesn't appear in the new release section and then do a search specific for that book, there will be no way to find it. That seems like a rather big bug to me.
Yeah, that's a big bug. But
if I had a new release and I wanted it to be featured, that. So do we think a platform like what's that?
Well,
do we think a platform like Comixology is a good thing in general? Do we like this digital comic option?
I like. Well, a lot of people like the digital option because number one, it saves on space. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I got so many friggin' long boxes that and I'm trying to downsize. And the same thing goes for my books. I have bookcases and bookcases full of books, but I've also got 200 or 300 books on my Kindle. And in a society where we're supposed to be trying to be more ecology conscious, and not use resources like paper, I think digital is a really good way to go. And a lot of people really do like digital books. But the thing is that what I stress is that Comixology was all about comics. I mean, that was their focus. Amazon is not focused just on comics. Amazon's got 400 million other focuses besides just comics. So I think comics is going to get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. It's funny. I don't know the answer to this, but I just assume with Comixology, like Roland said, it's like they think comics so grand in Comixology and they don't. I think it's people still pirate. So I think making something like Comixology was a way to try to fight piracy. But again, that's why a lot of comics in Comixology are like 99 cents. Because it's like we're trying to get anything. Like, just get them to give 99 cents or
steal
whatever.
it. Yeah.
But they don't. So many people just torrent them and then read them. So it's weird. These pay sites for digital, I think, are ways to try to like offer some sort of payment. But I think most people still just, they just don't. Not even 99 cents. It's just really hard to get people to pay for it. But again, I think one of the things that has trained people, especially when it comes to manga, is webcomics. The younger generation has grown up with free comics online. So you think like they didn't go to a comic book store and buy comics like we did. They just read them online. So the idea they'd come to a site and you want to pay for them, like, well, why should I pay for it? I got you go to Webtoons. They got thousands of these things, all free.
So what are they making their money off of? The advertisement?
Okay, so that's a trick. So this is. They don't advertise, so I'm still fuzzy about that. I do know that if you go on Webtoons, if you get enough views, they will actually hire you. And Webtoons is a Korean-based company, so the company, as far as I know, is Korean. But they'll pay you like so much a month to post your comic because it gets in views. So they must be making money on number of views, which I don't really understand how that works.
Well, yeah, unless they've got some advertising involved, I don't see what number of views how that would generate any income.
I'm not sure. It's fuzzy to me a little bit.
Another way they could make money with that is that if through the cookie reader or whatever that they give to you, they can then target you for advertising. They're not directly selling the advertising. They're selling your information to someone who will target you with with advertising.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that's
they don't even
it's
have
not
to
like
sell
we're
you
actually
anything
paying
directly.
money.
So that's why when I go on line after I've been looking at something on Amazon, all of a sudden all my ads on Facebook.
Well, yeah. Oh gosh.
They're always listening.
And it's not one company either, is it? It's a bunch of different companies
third parties
with similar. So you'll get added into an algorithm, and they'll think, well, if you like this, you'll also like this algorithm. It's like Missouri.
Missouri.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
but that's how they make their money. They don't. It's very indirect. But that's how they do it.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yep.
They're not. That's why they're able
Yeah.
to hold it free. It's strange enough. It's the same way. People who are like influencers, like online influencers, like
you.
I've watched some documentaries on this, and what they'll do is if you get enough, like there's just if you're curious, there's one called Fake Fame, I think, or Faking Fame.
Oh, lovely.
and they took these 3 people that wanted to be these online influencers and tried to make them into it. And the way these people started making money is by they would go on and get clicks, because especially the woman got more than the guy. It was 2 guys and a woman. The woman got more because obviously girls, and I'm not trying to be sexist. It's just honestly, it's just honest. She started getting much more hits, and so companies would send her free stuff. And when they send her free stuff, they're like, oh, just talk about it on your site or post it or whatever. And so the companies sometimes will pay them to post stuff. So that person is making money from companies asking the advertisers. So again, the viewers aren't paying any money towards them. They're making money in the background by these companies giving them free stuff and money to post stuff because they have eyes on them.
They feature them. I follow a mommy blog, and she's got something on Instagram. She's got something she's pushing every other week, all the time, because all of the people who want her to push this product, because she's got millions of viewers, they'll send her all kinds of free stuff. And then, so, of course, she has to say, I use this and I just thought it was awesome.
Yeah. It's the same thing. It's basically replacing how they used to take celebrities to sell stuff. Now they're taking people because they think, well, somebody's going to trust somebody else online they watch every day. And if they just sell them stuff, I ignore that. I usually skip over that part in videos every time I do that. But it's a way to make money. I don't know how effective it is. I've heard it can be kind of effective, especially like in fashion and stuff with, girls see oh, I love this lipstick. Oh yeah, we'll go out and buy it. It's almost literally replaced direct door-to-door sales. It's because somebody literally, they turn them into salesmen, but they're not salesmen. It's like they're selling you, but not selling you. It's very, very subtle.
Yeah. This is how they get their leads on who to sell to. That's what this is. This is lead fishing and
if something is free, you're the product.
Harvesting. Harvesting. They're harvesting your information and selling that to companies to sell you stuff. And if the thing is, it works. If it works enough that they can still make money. If you get 1 out of 10, you make money. And then you can usually get 1 out of 10.
Yeah, and if you're getting millions at pennies, so that's the convenience of our modern shopping is a struggle, because I want to go to my local whatever, fill in the blank. I want to give those local people my business, but when I walk in the door and their product is twice as much and they don't have it on the shelf, it's really, really frustrating. It's very hard to not go, okay, click, add to cart, and I have it day after tomorrow.
I have to admit that I am completely spoiled with online shopping. Because I would rather poke a needle in my eye than go shopping out of my house. Most women love to shop, not me.
Well, this is strange enough. The one thing.
Go ahead. Even worse.
What's
the
that?
Pandemic has made that even
worse. And that's a big topic about like how the little guys survive with this. But you're right. The convenience, and so I have 2 minds of it, because I could say I'm not using a typewriter or riding a horse anymore. Sorry, horse manufacturers, I am not going to buy your horse anymore.
Horse always wins.
Right, I'm going to ride. You ride in an automobile. So that's just the nature of it. I'm not buying candles to light my house. I have a few light bulbs here, if you believe that.
Buggy whips aren't made anymore.
Exactly. So I hate to say it's the march of progress, but sometimes really you do lose. You lose the local if you're putting locals out of business. It's such a tough balance.
Well, the other thing.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, the other thing stores give you is they give you the browsing scene. This is my biggest problem with online. Online ordering is convenient.
Yeah.
But most of the people that are throwing stuff in your face are corporations that got the money to do it. Like if you go, like how many times you gone to a comic book store and just like come across a comic like, hey, I didn't even know this exists. This is awesome. That's very hard to do online because they want to cater your search to what you think you're interested in. So the chances of you coming across like a Silverline book, that's what the power of browsing in mortar stores, like brick and mortar stores, give you. That the internet. Yeah, Mordor. Same thing. You know,
I'm headed there with my ring.
It is. But that's the thing. I mean, I go to the comic shop and look around, and I find all sorts of just stuff I've never even heard of, and online can't do that for you. And it also is annoying because the little guy online, like when we try to promote our stuff, it's very hard to get through the corporations that have got the money to push the stuff to the forefront and like just overshadow you.
And that's another thing that I read in the comments on this is that I mean the little guy's going to get totally buried. He says under the new release area there are filters for 13 publishers. On Comixology there are filters for about 175 plus publishers. So so that means that only the top 13 are ever going to be featured. I mean the little guy's screwed.
So, but I'm wondering, and I don't know, is it really a big problem then? If they're doing such a poor job of presenting comic books, will consumers realize this sucks? I don't want to shop on this website with all of these or with not the options. It sucks. Is it going to push them away from the digital option?
Well, here's another one. You cannot search for titles by publisher on the Amazon site. So like if Silverline was on there, you can't. So on Comixology, you can see all titles alphabetically for publishers and browse them to make purchases. Now, something else that Roland said earlier on was that Comixology does not make the money that people think it makes.
No, it does.
So maybe this was a decision on their part because it's
got to be a money decision. Yeah,
it's basic survivability. It's unfortunately that's. I mean, you see that even in video games, you see this a lot. Like a smaller company will make a hit, and it's like great and all, and then the bigger companies, EA, is classic for this. Comes out and buys up the company, and then make this, and they control the company, and then the next game doesn't do well, and they just dissolve the company. They just boom. Comixology probably was bought by Amazon, and there's a lot of people that will make that stuff to be sold to bigger companies. I mean, I worked with some guys that would, I mean, they made a electronic cigarette company. But the whole goal was not to make the company, it was to make it. And they made this infomercial and all this. I helped with the artwork on some of that just to sell it. The whole goal was to sell it. Yeah. They didn't want to run it. And so Comixology could be people that mindset. They just made that to be sold to a bigger fish.
So things are going to be lost in the vast morass swamp of Amazon. Do you think that's going to open up possibility for another company to come along and pick up the crumbs that Comixology is leaving behind?
That's what I've thought. Like, because the one thing that I have seen is there's a ton of, when it comes to webcomics, there's most of them are manga and stuff. You don't see a lot of places to post Western style comics. Comixology was kind of it, and they did a pay model. I think the one thing I did like about Comixology, they had a subscription model. They had this thing called Unlimited, where you pay 6 months, and then you could just read all sorts of crazy stuff. And I would find a lot of interesting books never heard of and just check them out. So that was
give you access to all kinds of graphic novels and stuff that you would never think to look at otherwise.
And I could see that doing that for American comics, but again, it's the web comic sites really are just the portals to people that put whatever they want. And they're not really, monitored. I mean, you could put anything on Webtoons, and I don't think the company is really going to come down on you. I don't think you could put pornography on there, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody tried it and they just, because there's so many. But again, it's a weird way, like Rob Davis said, of making money. It's so once you try to get money from the reader, oh no, they don't want that. But if you could find a way to get money from them without taking it directly from them, and get it from the industry or business or like advertisers, that's how that works. But then you got to have the eyes on your site, and Webtoons is huge, and that's how that works too.
Do you have any comics that you follow on Webtoons?
There were a few that I did. Webtoons is mostly a lot of like romance comics, manga, and stuff. It's geared towards younger people, which that's totally fine. It's not really my thing. That's why when I put my Godlings on Webtoons, it is. I've been posting on there for like over a year or two. It barely gets any attention because it's not geared towards that. 2 years.
Yeah, I know. I'm following 2 series on Webtoons.
Yeah. But my book barely gets any views, and I don't take it personally. One, I don't set up my comic to be formatted for like there's a certain format they do that's a scrolling up for Webtoons, and I don't really want to put in the effort. I know that sounds lazy to tear apart my comic and reorganize it for free views. Like I'm giving this to you for free. I mean, can you just take it as it is? No, you need to rip it up so they can read it on the phone. Because I've heard people that have decided to do that, tear up their comics or format it for like a phone, and they get more hits. But again, hits doesn't translate the money. That's the big thing. It's like, more people reading your comic, you're still not getting it, That's the hardest part, is translating the views to money, and a lot of them do merchandise. Like I know, I think Laura Olympus does a lot of merchandise or collects it in the books, and people like to own a little bit. So the idea behind web comics is there's a cosmicology. No, it's not. It's cosmicology.
It's comics.
There's S in cosmicology.
Comixology. It's okay.
Okay, Roland says. So
Roland's
consider
asking, why are they doing this in the first place? Maybe Comixology is not doing Comixology. Comixology is not doing well. Do we think that possibly it might? Yeah, it might be a dying.
Yeah, that's what we were saying earlier.
So they've got to bring it into the fold. Yeah. And nurse it along, probably for its ultimate demise, or to just not care about it.
Yeah, well, I think doesn't DC and Marvel have their own online? They used to go to Cosmicology, and now they go comics.
Yeah,
I think they go have their own online thing. Yeah,
you could buy Marvel's whatever. I don't know, unlimited. That's not the word thing, but and you could read, from number 1 to the current issue. Yeah. I don't want to divert from the business side of it too much, but like my personal, Aaron, you saying you can read anything and everything. I do think that's awesome. I have a hard time with digital comics, and I feel like a geezer. I can't do. I want the pages. I want the page turn. I don't want. It's the same thing with me. Like I like digital books. Barbie said it too. You can take 1,000 books with you, and I do that. I've got my Kindle, and I can take 1,000 books with me, and I love it. But if I'm learning something, like if I'm reading something to learn, I do not like it digital. I hate it because I can't find. I can't dog ear a page. I can't. I know you can bookmark, but I hate digital, like scrolling or
writing it.
There's something very satisfying.
Yeah.
And you own what you physically own what you spent your money on.
So with a comic,
if you don't have power, you can throw it into the fire.
It has intrinsic value. It exists in your hands.
You know what? Difference. I was really proud. My 16-year-old, she had me order a CD, but it was a full album with art and liner notes. Yeah. But then I said, how are you going to play these CDs? we have a CD player in the living room, but she doesn't sit in the living room and listen to music. Yeah. So
when's she's her birthday? I'll buy her a Discman.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to buy her a Discman. I was proud because she's like, I want to own it. I want the liner notes and I want the artwork. And I thought that's really cool. Good for you. I was really proud of her that she actually thought of that. And but with comic books, I love going, I like looking back at the cover, or like, okay, wait, who is this guy? Or you turn back 3 pages and you see, okay, this is what happened in that scene. It's so much better. I'm not against the digital version. It's just that they're lacking. At least
I think also the other thing too is eye strain. A computer shining light into your eyes, that bothers me. I mean, I can only sit in front of a computer so long, and printed comics don't do that. They're much easier in the eyes and stuff. That's always been my problem. It's just again, people always go like, well, I sit at the computer all day. Why are you fatigued? And it's like, well, one, you're sitting that way that whole time, and the second, you're having light shine into your eyes, and it just gets to you after a while. So that I think is one reason. And the digital, I don't know. I read comics set up to be flipped the page, and I know a lot of digital do the scrolling up, and that's just for phones because everyone's supposed to read on their phones. But there is a language, and I think so much of comics is built as a book to read, to flip the page, and you lose that when you're scrolling. So digital has gotten it's a new language, but it's not the language I'm been spending all this years trying to understand.
Yeah.
Like I understand the book flipping language. I don't understand, and I don't really want to go back and relearn the language of scrolling up and down. I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm too old for that.
Why does Rob still work on paper?
Exactly. Same here. I work on
don't-
paper with all my stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a question.
Why? Because there's something to it that, and I'm lazy. I don't want to learn how to do it digitally. I probably will start doing some stuff digitally, but I also like having this in my hands when I'm done.
Yeah.
And I can take it to a show and I can show it to people.
You can
or I
sell it
sell
too.
it to them if they want that. Yeah. Whereas with digital, all you're selling them is a copy. I guess that's like an NFT. But,
those do not make
ridiculous.
any.
Yeah.
any
So let's
sense.
transition into NFTs and Bitcoin if we could. No, please, no. Rory, Rory, you had a question?
Yeah, so here's a question. Say talking about languages. Say Silverline made it big in Japan, right? We have to re-release everything in Japanese.
Naturally.
You have to move those word bubbles around to accommodate a different language. Because the characters could be fewer or more, take up more of the space. How do you accommodate each cell, each panel? Would it
and
change
you have
the
to
flow?
Change them all to read
right to left,
back to front. And
right.
Some they've quit doing that in some.
Yeah.
But it is and it's just I do think. And the one thing is I don't know how much collectability there is in manga. Manga's always been, even in Japan, was made more like, especially the Shonen Jump, the magazine, it's more disposable. You read your comics.
Yeah, it's a throwaway story. It's like a newspaper type deal.
Right.
Comics.
American comics have that collectability factor that I think, of course, is highly lost when you go digital. You can't get it. And I think that's why we still hold on to comic book stores and stuff. I do think there is almost two crowds between American and manga. It's just unfortunately the ones who are in the manga are the young kids with all the disposable income. And so they read it. It's I don't know. It's weird. I mean, like I said, I go to shows and like if I'm next to somebody who is selling manga, whatever, they just get 1,000 more traction than I do.
Oh yeah.
Verbatim. It's just unless I'm selling hot naked women, or hot naked men. Take your pick. I'm not going to judge. But it's
Roland's chimed in for Rory. Digital lettering is relatively easy to translate. So
it is.
Now he also said he also said something about questioning the profitability of Comixology. And do you think that's because it's so easy to pirate digital comics? And how does that happen?
A lot of times, Roland and I think talked about this, and so like you can have one guy go and buy an issue of Batman, and I could do this at home. I have a scanner, so I could just sit there and scan the whole book in, throw it into a PDF, and throw it on a torrent, and that one torrent, thousands of people will read. So it's the idea of taking one comic. You're buying one comic, and thousands of people are reading it. Now, it used to be you would trade comics with your friends, but the power of the internet makes it you can trade that comic with thousands of people. And so people just show up, and all it takes is one dude translated one comic, throw it on the torrent, and you have just fed everyone.
He's physically scanning this stuff in and then just sharing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tearing a floppy apart.
If you're doing physical and even digital, you can sit there and take screenshots.
I was just going to say screenshots,
Yeah, on your computer, you can just sit there, take a page and screenshot. It might take a little bit, but people do all sorts of stuff. I mean, and this isn't the problem with comics. I mean, movies have been battling piracy for years. Music gave up. Music said fine, and they don't make music albums anymore. People make music hits, but like the idea of an album or piece, rarely do they make them anymore. So music just got literally destroyed by this. Movies, I think Netflix and those streaming services have kind of saved them a little bit, but movie theaters were doing horrible, and the print media, it just. The thing about it is people don't, if you get it off the internet for free, people don't see it as stealing.
Right.
It's a weird thing.
It is a modern, relatively modern mindset and expectation that stuff should be free because
exactly
all your apps and then if in the thank you, Rory. And the in the apps you get your micro purchases if once you have it and you want to expand on it. I think all those Farmville and Farmtown games, the Facebook games, that was really one of the big. So really, you get all those micro purchases. You get in the game for free, and that is part of it. Is a relatively modern mindset. It should be free. It's online. It should be free. Music should be and a streaming service. You are paying a monthly, but you have a free option. It should be free. And so with the games, every app is just about free with ads. And then you can pay to get rid of the ads, or pay to get the avatar, or the clothing, or the wallpaper. I don't know what the skin to do that. But yeah, you're right. Then people have that if it's off the internet. If it's you grab an image that's obviously a copyrighted image on Google. Well, I found it on Google. It's free. I can use it. I can use it for my whatever.
And let's not lie to ourselves. When companies like Disney and stuff, the only reason they make these movies for merchandise, the amount of money they make off merchandise of the movies they make is astronomical compared to the money they make from the movies. I mean, even when you hear like Spider-Man did $1 billion, yeah, but the amount of money they make off the merchandising of shirts and shirts is probably double that.
Scott, we can start selling muskets.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird to think that. I mean, this is when George Lucas made his fortune. He merchandised Star Wars.
He was one of the first ones to do that.
So it's weird. I mean, if we can figure out a way to merchandise, which I think we do with Silverline, it's just it's. I think it used to be easier to get people to read your stuff and get fans because your sphere of acquiring material was very limited before the internet. You had to go to your store. You had to go get, your friends knew about it, whatever. Now with the internet, the whole world at your fingertips, and to try to get to the front of the line, if you're a small guy, oh man, it's like impossible. Just imagine the corporations have massive tanks or whatever just borrowing you. And these like Disney, I mean, it's the money. It's just the marketing money that just defeats the small guy. Like, is my content good? I think my content's good. Can I get in front of people's eyes? Yeah, but I get like maybe one person seeing my stuff out of they see like 20 advertisements for Disney stuff a day. It's just literally marketing dollars.
It's a
just
juggernaut.
Destroy. It is. It just destroys the small guy. And so a lot of these small guys, when they and when they get a chance to sell their company like Comixology, might as well. I mean, it's either go under, have no money, or sell it to them for a chunk of change. Yeah, it's sad, but it's true.
So do you think that this is a ripe opportunity for somebody to jump in and cover the stuff that's going to get lost on Amazon?
I think it could be. The only problem is if I would like to know what Comixology was up facing against before they went to Amazon. In other words, they obviously possibly sold because they weren't making money. So we can do the same thing and lose money and encounter the exact same problem that Comixology's encountered.
Yeah.
So when I'm and the idea is to figure out what that problem is. And like most comic book stores, I think once you take DC and Marvel away, people go away, unfortunately. I mean, comic shops know that. I mean, unless you're selling Marvel and DC, once you take those out, I guess they got to live off manga, but like Image and stuff. I mean, Image, even though it's big, I mean, their biggest series like Invincible and Walking Dead Saga. That's 3 out of how many they publish? Those are the 3 biggest ones. Marvel and DC, the entire universe is huge. And so it's just it just sucks.
For a small company, you pray for that one breakout book that becomes huge, because then that brings everybody to the table, to look at the other Silverline books or, IDW books or whatever.
Yeah. Dark Horse, I mean, I grew up with Dark Horse around here. I mean, they've been local for years. Besides the licensing book, the one thing that keeps Dark Horse in business is Hellboy.
Yeah, that's their breakout. That's their
breakout.
And
it's theirs, too.
Because they're cranking out titles. Boom.
Yeah. And I think Black Hammer for Dark Horse is doing well. But yeah, without Hellboy, because Dark Horse has lost almost all its licenses. I think they finally now to publish a few of their Star Wars stuff again. But I mean, Dark Horse made their money off Aliens, Predator, Star Wars. That was it. Now they're making money. I mean, they make a lot of money selling art books for video games like Last of Us and stuff. They sell art books or whatever. Their biggest seller I was reading was they did a book on the history of the Legend of Zelda game. Somebody made a chronological history of the game, made a book. That was their biggest seller out of all the books they had. Yeah, they said once they put that book out, just boom. And you wouldn't think that. You think, well, Dark Horse is Hellboy would have. No, it wasn't a comic. It was a book about Legend of Zelda chronological. Yeah, that was a few years ago. So it's weird because you think they're making money off comics. It's like, yeah, they put out licensed stuff, and that built-in audience is what keeping the money so they can put out books like Black Hammer and stuff. But Hellboy's been their
part of that. How much money did they make though? Is the thing is, you have to pay for a license.
Right. They got to pay Nintendo. Exactly.
Yeah, you got to pay them as well. So you got to really sell a lot of copies in order to pay the bills and to pay the licensor. So
that's why Hellboy probably in the long term is more profitable. They probably just sold more per volume on the Zelda book. But yeah.
Well, and I think also they probably had a percentage of the movie rights for Hellboy. Think about that. When the movie was made, I think Dark Horse made some money off that. If they didn't, they were foolish.
And I think they might have made some money off Sin City, but I'm not sure. I think Sin City is under Dark Horse.
They did. I bet they did.
So Dark Horse has been bought out by a company that makes invests in a lot of video game companies. So you might be seeing Hellboy video games and stuff coming up. So Dark Horse finally sold. I get it was in business for over 30 years. So, Mike Richardson, but they're considered always been like the third or fourth publisher or whatever. But yeah, without Hellboy, I know Black Hammer, but Dark Horse I think actually puts out a lot of really good stuff. It's just a lot of it's not superhero stuff. Unfortunately, I read a lot of. I mean, I grew up when I went into comic shops around here. Most of Things from Another World was owned by Dark Horse. And so every time you go into a comic shop, everything was covered in Dark Horse stuff. So I used to see it all the time. I'm used to it. But now I know most of the other country, they don't see Dark Horse stuff. They don't. It's not as big like it is with me. It's not like a huge display of Dark Horse stuff that I used to see every day. So I have a history with them. But yeah, it's unfortunate. It's Hellboy. I mean, if they didn't have Hellboy, where would they be? It's right. and Image is that way without The Walking Dead and Invincible. I mean, Saga is the other one. I mean, those breakout hits keep those companies in business.
So we got Phil saying, "Hey-o, Silverline peeps." Hey-o, Phil.
Hey-o.
And we got a question from Cassisi, a regular contributor here. This may be a weird question. Do you think that you can ever spin it and use a small catalog of merchandise to sell more books? I don't know if I understand the question.
Like an actual catalog of?
You're talking okay. Are you talking about
specifically to Silverline?
He says, sounds backwards, but when I think about everyone who's into cosplay and t-shirts and then ask what the origin of the thing on the merchandise is, I almost think it may be the behavior to take advantage of.
I see what you're saying.
Okay.
So basically, if you sold a bunch of t-shirts and mugs of images to say Silverline stuff, they'd be like, well, what's this from? And oh, glad you asked. And then you can sell more books.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea. I don't know if that would work. That might. I mean, it would depend on the art. I mean, if we sold it as Silverline comic art or something, it might be an interest because people do like novelties. Like Barbara just held up the mug. I mean, they do like mugs. If you sell somebody a mug that needs a mug.
The one thing, so I think about the mindset again of my teenage daughter, or when you see those cosplayers, they do like to be that quirky, that where you got to say, now what is that on your shirt? Really obscure.
Mm-hmm.
My son and I are really into Mystery Science Theater, and he's got a shirt that only if you're at
Ralph Tower.
Yeah. He's got my wife is going to make him the Joikey Joel Mike Christmas. But no, if he was at a convention of 10,000 people, how many people would actually? But there are people that would see it. I think though, speaking with Silverline stuff, we're still so small. There's still not enough of a cultural phenomenon. It would be great. I think we should do it. We need to keep. But there's got to be a little more of a cultural phenomenon where you got that, where you're going to see somebody else at the convention, and we could get there. And I think this should be part of it. But I think once you need a little momentum.
I
Phil
see
said
the cosplay. I do like the exploited cosplay. I think that's a good one, and I think that can, we got to get rolling in the cosplay. Only female characters.
Yeah. A character, I agree. Character shirts would be awesome.
Yeah.
Again, with they're expensive, and when you want to, if you need to make a profit on it, you got to buy 1,000 of them. And then Roland's, saying when we wear shirts as a group, it really, When Daytona, that's the only one that I've been at, that Silverline's been at. Is we all had our Silverline shirts on, and you could spot us. There was, it was awesome.
Bright red.
So, yep. And then. Yep, it's expensive. Roland's saying it is certainly expensive. And how do you make that? So, like from Roland's standpoint or Barb, like how much money do we spend on 1,000 T-shirts or advertising? You know what I mean? Like
T-shirts get expensive really fast.
You got to buy a lot of them.
Now, see, I have a Divinity T-shirt, but because I specifically took my Divinity logo, took it to Zazzle, and I put on a shirt. Right. It's one shirt.
But for you would if you needed to sell it, you probably would make a profit on that one.
No. I got it for myself to wear at conventions.
Well, I'm saying to buy one, it's like buying a T-shirt. Like you're not going to get, So, Cassisi said, I'm sorry, we've been skipping over these. People don't exploit cosplay at a convention. You should. That's make it more organized rather than just people showing up and then.
It would be simple to do a cat and mouse cosplay because they basically wear hoodies.
Yep. Yeah.
And jeans.
Yeah. Yeah, you have like
a bunch of stickers and slap them on people's back,
Yeah.
Daytona, Roland's got a great connection, and Daytona's been really great with us. And I don't know all the details, but we did a really good job. And I say we, Silverline and Roland did a really good job of getting our brand at Daytona. So what that did was people saw our poster, they saw our T-shirts, they saw our names on things, and it was on badges for the not the attendees, the whatever the
exhibitors.
Exhibitors. Thank you.
I'm
an
exhibitor at
thank you. They saw our name, and so people came around. You are Silverline. Yep. Phil said, if I'm at a convention tabling, I want to be wearing Silverline White Devil. You gotta represent. Phil, do you have Silverline gear? And so people ask the question because he's saying create the demand. They
demand to create
site on the with the shirt. You're saying sorry, you corrected yourself. Site equals site. Do you mean a link? Because he sees that what you're saying. So people see the shirt, they know silverline.com, silverlinecomics.com. Is that what you're saying? But you got to people aren't just confused, right? That's all the branding. You get your brand out there. Shirts do cosplay stuff. If you get people to ask you who you are 1,000% correct. And that's where we need to get. We need to get that groundswell. That's where the small guys need to get those characters that people want to embrace and become. They so much so that they love the character that they want to put the outfit on or do the cosplay. I think it's a fantastic idea.
Sometimes I think that's why with me as a small guy doing my stuff, I think that's why maybe I argue to a point about doing unique or different things, because the idea is I want to try to give something that no one's ever seen before to pique their interest.
Yeah. I'm
always afraid if I do like a superhero, whatever, people are like, I got Spider-Man, I don't care.
Right.
But if I do something no one's ever seen, it's like, what's that? Because I always use Ninja Turtles because no one had ever seen anything like that. Like, what is that? And
I just finished a show this past weekend in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and I sold more cat and mouse and Divinity books there than I've sold in the last 5 or 6 conventions. They just sold really, really well. And I don't know if that's because it was a market that doesn't very often see comic book shows. There really isn't a whole lot there.
Yeah.
Or if it's just that people are just getting tired of DC and Marvel, but it's a great time to start pushing and making your brand noticeable out there.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of finding the right buttons to push.
I wonder if the luster is going to wear off from the movies, because
I think it's already kind of started.
They've gone past the big guys, all the names. They'll probably be reinvigorated when they do X-Men. And maybe Fantastic Four, whatever's on the horizon. Those the names. But right now we're in the Eternals, Shang-Chi. That's great stuff.
Moon Knight does nothing for me. I have
yeah.
no interest in
And it's
seeing
fine.
that.
I'm not opposed to it, but I think
Yeah.
we were past the oh my goodness. And now suddenly everybody's a comic book fan. Fine. Find some. Suddenly we're all great. I think that luster's going to wear off. The I'm cool because I have a Tony Stark or a Cap.
I mean, the balloon is off the rose.
Yeah, I think maybe, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But
It's just the typical oversaturation.
Yep, everything.
Yeah.
And we have John Medic the third joining us. John,
Did he finally make it?
Dude,
they're great. Yeah. Hey, John, say hello real quick. Get 4
everybody.
seconds.
Sorry,
John Medic, author of
Sniper and Rook.
Sniper and Rook, that was just successfully kickstarted. Yes, and I already gave the thanks. So, well, let you say thanks again if you want. Go for it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's why I definitely had to get on. Thank you, everybody who read one of the posts. Definitely everybody who contributed and backed the project. It means the world to all of us. Thank you so much for making this successful.
Well done.
Thank you to everybody who read a post, liked a post, forwarded it, shared it, told somebody about it. Or even just like put up with seeing them. Thank you, everybody. Seriously, it is so cool, and I can't wait to get you issue number 2.
Yes.
We'll announce who the penciler on that one is soon enough. It is a Silverline alum who's done other Silverline work, and he is blowing the doors off the next issue. But again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you to everybody that helped with the campaign.
Yeah, and awesome job on the campaign. It was a huge success, and I told everybody they'll be getting these in a couple weeks. So, a reminder to all of you out there that back these. When you get these in the mail, when you get them, take a picture, post it, and tag at Silverline, and we do have a hashtag Make Mine Silverline. When I put it up there, it tells you that fewer than 1,000 people have posted this. Let's get that over 1,000, so it stops telling me that. Let's put a hashtag Make Mine Silverline up there. And we're going to keep growing because, John, we're talking about, and I think this is a good time to transition. We're talking about, does Comixology in the digital world really get us much? Should we be concerned that Amazon has taken Comixology? And Roland tossed it out there, and we kind of tossed this around. We think that it might be a failing enterprise. So they're going to circle the wagons on Comixology. They're going to nurse it along, but not really give it its due. And we wonder, is that a bad thing? I don't know, because it doesn't promote the little guy. It doesn't help the little guy much. So we think we're poised to hopefully point more people towards the indies like us. And titles like Sniper and Rook are not a cookie cutter of any other superhero or anything like that. They're unique, and I think so. We talked about branding. Sniper and Rook's a great one. If people want to do cosplay, if people want to wear a Sniper and Rook t-shirt or something like that, I think it's a great one. So, we got Cassisi here. I don't want to forget. He says, I think Dark Spin's maybe the next big thing. R-rated version, yeah. R.J. Joe Transformers. Yeah, there was a hint. There was I don't know if it's just rumor about an R-rated Star Trek. I think more grown up stuff.
It was Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, and then nothing happened with that. So maybe it still will. Yeah, for me, I don't know. Like with watching Discovery, hearing an F-bomb on Star Trek was kind of like for me. And I get
takes you out of the suspension of disbelief.
And I'm not some sort of wilting flower or some heavens swear word.
It's not for you and me.
Yeah, it's just not so. Yeah. But you're because
I have no interest in seeing Discovery.
It's
me either.
I don't.
Right. I think
it's not the Star Trek I know.
Yeah.
So,
I think though you're right.
But that's fine. That's fine.
Having more grown up,
it's getting some
G.I. Joe. Yeah,
it's Star Trek kind of seems to reinvent itself for every generation.
Yeah,
to accommodate that generation's viewpoint.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've watched parts of the 4th season of Discovery. It's okay. It's definitely not really Star Trek. It's
no.
I'm looking forward to Strange New Worlds, though. Strange New Worlds, I love. I can't think of the actor's name. I'm sorry, who plays the new Captain Pike. And
I've not watched Discovery yet.
I won't spoil anything.
That does look interesting.
Captain Pike.
Is it Pike and Rebecca Romaine?
Rebecca Romaine.
Is she? She's number 1. Yeah. Number 2.
Is she going to be on the spinoff?
I don't know. I can't saying actors' names. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with their names.
Mystique.
Is that okay? Yeah, before because Cassisi said I should clarify. I think more mature, darker storylines from characters. We'll go over. Meaning, I think he means that will be a hit. It does. You know what though? As far as numbers, R-rated stuff does not do as well as PG-13 or PG stuff because you can't take the family. You don't know what you're getting into. And Roland does. He says, Roland's saying, I hope Cassisi's wrong. I don't want more R-rated superhero comic. I don't either. I don't know what the market wants. And Brent Larson is here. Speaking of R-rated, folks, cover your ears. Brent's here.
Blankety, blank, blank.
Where's the beep button?
This is a family show, Brent. So Brent, we have transitioned into the free for all. If you want to chime in though on our the Comixology, from what we're seeing, the news is saying that Amazon's taking it and taking the Comixology offering because it is an Amazon product, but they're just moving it all to Amazon. Barbara's reading a bunch of people reporting that the new releases aren't showing up. You can't search by publisher. So if we were on Comixology, they can't search by Silverline. There's a lot of bugs in the system, but we also think it may not be holding up. That it may not be
friendly to small publishers
making prospect for them. So. Yeah, it's so we wonder if we're poised, if we need to keep pushing, which we're doing. I think we have grown exponentially the number of titles we have, and so it's an awesome place to be. Phil says, let's see, Star Trek went too much to space opera like Star Wars instead of more high sci-fi. Yeah, I think we do this every week. We go down the Star Wars Star Trek path. But
how do we get on Star Wars and Star Trek every
week? The new John Captain Pike is in a few episodes of Discovery with the Enterprise,
right?
Because it's pre-Kirk, and so the new spinoff is coming, I think, this month, and that's when I'm looking forward to. Strange New Worlds or something like that.
So the next Trek series I'm interested in dropping, I think it's dropping in March. The Orville season 3.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And if you have not watched Seth MacFarlane's The Orville, you really should.
I've heard it's really good.
It is Trek. It's got Trek.
It's
DNA.
Next Generation.
Yeah,
it's Next Generation.
It totally fits in that world. Yes. And it's got heart. It's not just the Orville film. Man. It's got heart. It's got great stories. It's got great acting. It's really all that, and it's a real bag of chips.
Hey, you sold me at fart jokes there, Rob. Phil says Orville's more Star Trek. Yep. I don't know. I've been having a hard time getting through the newest Star Trek. I do like Lower Decks because that's next gen, and it is total. Like they make some obscure references. I mean, you got to know Star Trek. Sometimes they make amazing references. For the true fans, so I've enjoyed that. Now, what about anybody reading anything good? I'll go first because I want to mention I picked up a kid's graphic novel. My 10-year-old's been totally into this series called Owly. She really likes them, but we picked up this book called Otto, OTTO, and the author calls it a palindroma. And it's all palindromes, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious. So his name is Otto, and he said, he'll say "wow," and but then his parents are talking to him. It's all these little like vignettes. I think it's all in his imagination. I thumbed through most of it. I didn't quite pick up the storyline, but it's very clever, very cute. All palindromes that are little. They make it clunky, but it works. Like he clearly wrote these panels around this weird palindrome. Oh, like he says, he's standing looking down on the road. He says, "Oh, a Toyota," and then someone sitting, they're watching cars going. She says something. I think she says, "Oh no, no Hondas, no sad no Hondas." I think. So I don't remember.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, sad no Hondas. Anyways, but it's all palindromes. But that's my plug. Yeah.
I just finished.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very clever.
I just finished an audiobook, which I'm way late to the party on reading this, and I'm sure you guys have all read it. It's Hatchet.
From
it's a more of a young teens or
from forever ago.
Gary Paulson.
Yeah.
Gary Paulson, thank you. Yeah.
Gary Paulson, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know these books existed. I'm like, where have I been all this time?
Yeah, Hatchet's a great one. Hatchet, and then there's a sequel. I don't.
Yeah, there's like 5 sequels.
Is there?
So
Oh
now
wow!
Now I have to get them.
Hatchet's
So I mean, and I like young teen books sometimes. Like I love the Harry Potter series. You know, I read the Harry Potter series and liked them as an adult, and I'm enjoying Hatchet as an adult. So I know I'm like 50 years behind or whatever.
That's okay. That's okay. And I've been revisiting the Krondor. I don't know if it's a Krondor series. Raymond Feist, Feist, F-E-I-S-T. He wrote for Magician Apprentice, Magician Master. Darkness at Sethanon or something like that. They're really, really good. I enjoyed those. Cassisi's got a question. What does everyone think about comic books in VR? Being able to read the comic in a VR environment. Wow,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. If you haven't done VR,
have a big hand to turn the page.
Yeah.
I was thinking. So I was imagining like if you're standing in a comic book scene that you could completely do that. Because
the only thing that would be hard in VR, and this is the same thing I think gamers, even game designers, excuse me, have a hard time with, is focusing people's attention. They're telling a narrative because you are in a virtual environment. You can look anywhere.
Yeah.
I think you would have like a 3-dimensional like book, but it would be just kind of flat in front of you. I don't know if you could enter a comic world and be able to tell
what you're.
I don't know. A coherent narrative because you can wander around and do whatever. The idea is you'd want to focus. I don't know. That would be an interesting experiment.
Yeah. Sure. So he said something. There's Madfire Comics, which is.
I didn't even know that.
Which is comics in VR. I want to check that out. Yeah, because we do have we got a VR headset for Christmas, and
it's wild.
Again, Star Trek Bridge Crew.
Oh yeah.
If you want to geek out on Star Trek stuff, you can be on the Enterprise D or the original Enterprise, and you're at the panel. You're at the helm, or you got engineer.
Oh, is that thing I see advertised on Facebook where Spiner and Breaks?
No. That's
some young lady.
That's a phone game.
Oh, that's the online game.
Yeah.
That's
so this one is VR.
That's different.
You are in. You can play with 4 people. As the bridge crew, somebody's the captain, helm, engineering, and tactical.
Give it all she's got.
It's 3D. So you've got your hands. You can manipulate your hands like so, and your arms move and your head move. And you got.
Did you just do the robot?
Well, I was being Data, I was B4. How's that? A little better. So you can you got your panels in front of you, the view screen, and it's 3D. You press your virtual buttons. It's crazy. It's so
does it make lifelike boop sounds?
It does beep boop beep.
Can't you do different decks? Like can't you do like virtual. The next generation bridge, the old bridge?
That was good.
Yeah, you mentioned D, you mentioned the original,
and then you can
the Kelvin timeline.
I don't know if it's. I think it is. You're on the USS Aegis, AEGIS, and I think that's just a made up ship for the game. There's a campaign mode for this ship, and technologically it seems like it's ahead of the Enterprise D. It has more like HUD rather than touchscreen like the Enterprise D has. But you can go on the Enterprise D. It's so cool. The graphics are a little clunky. Like all VR graphics are a little clunky.
Older game.
It's an emerging technology.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I love like VR graphics. Like they look really cool, like from this far. But then when you put your face through them, like they get all grainy and weird. But I've been loving the VR stuff. Yeah, Madefire because he's correcting himself.
Okay, so that's the name of the company. Okay, yeah.
I will want to check that out. That is
I think VR comics can do some interesting stuff. I don't know. Again, it would be controlling the narrative of the story, and if somebody can wander around, just kind of look away, or go look at a tree, or look at something else. If they're in the environment, you want to keep their focus.
To be in a, so you'd be in a still image. If you could walk, like I'm imagining you walking around it, like walking around all sides of somebody
just 2 pages
punching.
Oh, okay. So Kasisi says that's the thing. You are the hero.
Yeah.
You create the world. That's interesting. I
like a sandbox. You want a sandbox where you make your own comic.
Oh, they walk through the story as the hero. That would be interesting.
Is it set up like one of the old choose your own adventure books where like
almost kind of like
choices?
That'd be cool.
You know, like as the
you
hero, like
drawing your own.
you chose to do this or this, and does it redirect the story, or is it just like a simple walkthrough, like a Dragon's Lair originally from the video game?
Yeah.
I don't think
what he's talking about is made for. Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I mean, comic books. I can see I think that.
Well, that would be comic books then.
Oh, gotcha.
That comes to the argument. It's like, when you have motion comics and they try to do motion comics, is it comic books?
Yeah.
Yeah and no.
Yeah, it's a moving still image. Yeah.
Once you add movement, physical, actual movement, then it's like more towards a movie. And I think it just has to do with the language you're dealing with. There's a specific language to movies and a language to comics, still images. And once you add movement and you should start bringing in some of that language of movies in the comics, then it starts to blur the line. I don't think people I'm not saying you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I just said it kind of blurs their line. I think there are languages to these things that I think kind of have to be adhered to a little bit to make that genre. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because once it's moving, your imagination is no longer imagining the movement, and you're no longer seeing something in your own time, however you want to view it. That's the beauty of comic books and prose is you can linger on a sentence for as long as you want. You can linger on a panel or a page for as long as you want. Whereas with a movie, you can pause it, but that's dumb.
Yeah,
you don't know it's not made for that. You can't go back to look at something.
If you're in the page, if you could, if there's no movement, you're just looking at a still image. I mean, again, I don't think it's arguing either or. I mean, I think you could do variations on comics in there. It would just be figuring out ways to translate the language of comic sequential art into VR to keep it comics, because there is kind of a fine line. I think
in the image.
I think you're right.
Yeah, because I want to see what exactly it's like because I think
I get more reference.
2-dimensional, or is it like a full 3D that you're walking around?
Or just like one field of view.
Because either way, it's kind of cool. Because
I think it's great
seeing in the VR world when you look around and you've got an entire environment around you. It's really, really amazing. I like it, and also sometimes it does make me sick. But playing first person, I tried playing Blade and Sorcerer or something like that. It's just like a fantasy hack and slash. And I got about 5 minutes, and I wanted to throw up. I couldn't do it, but I can do a biplane dogfight one just fine.
It's weird. I looked at because I've done VR and I talked to people who developed and the thing because I play. They call it getting your VR legs, like getting your sea legs. But it is such a risk. When I tell people they wear VR, I'm like, do you get motion sickness? No, like a little bit. I'm like, because I had friends like, a little, and they come on like, holy, it's because your brain thinks you're moving, but your legs aren't moving, so your brain just can't figure out what's going on. They have people who have done stuff where they will bounce up and down in their seat to mimic movement. That helps a little bit. Because it's such a trick of the brain. Your brain can't figure out what you're sitting down, but you're moving.
But you're flying forward. And then adding like a flight game, or I did this one where you're like a robot and you have thrusters on your arms, so you can fly and you're all over the place. And same thing, just
it's kind of like being in an IMAX theater.
You feel that.
Where I'm sitting there, I'm like. When I'm supposed to be sitting still,
and you're not even moving. That
but then is it still a comic?
That's a great question.
Yeah, that's the question. That's the question.
And I do think there's certain. I mean, can you cross mediums like movies, comics, games? I think sure, but I do think there's advantages and disadvantages to each medium, and I think some of the best representations of those mediums are ones that use that language specifically. I mean, some of the best movies out there are ones that use the language of filming to tell their story that are fantastic. I mean, a cinematography, things of that nature, things you can't get in comics and other things.
So back to the VR here. Mr. Richard Dunn here said, my son literally held the back of my shirt as I attempted to jump off a cliff. There are videos of people just launching themselves into the wall.
Yeah.
Yep. It is unnerving. It's such a strange sensation. You want to step or fall. Or I've tried to lean against a virtual object. My son did it too. He was playing Super Hot, and there's a barrier, and he just like laid out flat on the floor. It's hilarious.
Yeah, put all your pillows around you.
Yep. Yeah. And then when you come out of it, it was literally going to fall over. Yeah. When you come out of the VR world too, and you're like, oh wait, I'm facing the wrong. I thought, you were over there.
This is why people who like horror, if you like horror movies and games, playing horror games in VR is a whole different issue.
Boy.
Yeah, I don't know. I love it.
For instance, give me a for instance.
For horror?
Yeah.
I know Resident Evil 4.
They made an augmented reality
Resident
one.
Evil, but there is
one. Just a sec. Go ahead. Sorry.
Like if you're sitting in the dark, you can't if you're watching a horror movie and something scary, you're most of the time in a safe environment. You can look away. I mean, you can look at your clock or your chair. You know that you're safe. When you're in VR, it's all around you. I mean, you have things coming at you. You can't back up or move away. So you are there.
No, thank you.
So the horror takes a whole other dimension.
I'm not into horror.
You're not selling me.
Really bad.
You're not selling me.
I'm not. It's definitely one of those things I try. I'm actually kind of hooked on them because
it's called Dreadhall is one I haven't played it. I heard Dreadhall. I want to try it.
Resident Evil is pretty much more zombies or whatever. I'm trying to think of it. There was one called Russia Blood or something that you're on like a roller coaster. And I think it's for PlayStation only. And you can shoot. You have these guns. You can shoot stuff, but you can't control what's coming out. So you have like spiders crawling over you.
No.
Yeah.
One's called, is it Face Your Fears? There's a to get over phobias. Not doing
that. Anything with spiders. No.
You look down.
Well, they actually do use VR to help people get over.
There was when the augmented reality first came out with the headset, you put your phone in, you would walk through your house and it mapped out your house. And then when it got dark, you went through it and like all the pictures with eyes would blink at you. Things would come around the corner and look around.
That's the coolest thing I've heard all
day.
So
it's your house, but it's haunted or something.
I think that the augmented reality is the next step in the VR world because if you can play Dungeons and Dragons, in an empty room or an empty couple room, whatever, and augmented reality puts up, stone walls and creeping moss, and you have a sword in your hand, or that's the next step because, Demio is another one. If you like tabletop or a D&D, there's a game called Demio, and you've got your little characters, and you zoom in on them. It's 3D. You move the board around. That one's really, really cool.
I've been playing a Doom 3 in VR a bit. With the demons coming at you.
Yeah.
The reason that's scary, I'm like, well, no, because you got a shotgun.
Yeah.
It's scary when it's like, you can fight back. So
if you got to run with no
shotgun with a chainsaw on it.
Yeah. So that's not scary. But they're so creepy in the game. They're very quiet. So there's been many times I've turned around and one's like right on me, and I'm like, "Whoa, where'd you come from?" So,
So this is the first. This is the first, everyone, because CC says, "I think you're right, Scott." So, guys, see, I'm right. I'm right.
Wow.
For the record,
put it out, hang it on the wall.
He says, he wants to learn to write in that world, write for that world. So you want to write for which world?
VR. I think he's writing
VR world.
Yeah, I did VR. I think that definitely that is. If you could go, that's untold frontiers. If you could find a way to do, I think it'd be fun. I mean, you're creating new languages.
Writing for video games, and I don't have experience in this from what I took a class on and stuff, but that is a skill in and of itself because you have to. You were saying this. Where do you about the comic books? Where do you lead the eye? You have to lead the character, and especially now, you're not going left to right like Mario. Yeah. How do you lead them through a world?
There's no
now with these
sandbox.
free form sandbox worlds, how do you guide them along? And that's a writing form in and of itself. Because
Roland do an expose
wants to write augmented reality. You're right. Write a story in an augmented reality world. That's
That would be
it's
cool.
a new frontier there. So Richard Dunn, VIP
Yeah,
for
you
Steam
could.
Patriots, says, turn House of the Castle Wolfenstein.
Rick,
Yeah,
I was
you
thinking
have to
that.
walk along the wall and hold spacebar the whole time to find the secrets.
Well, they have these. They've talked about these glasses, or all the augmented reality glasses that people could wear.
Too
Basically,
creepy.
you
Too
know,
weird.
there was one guy who was funny. He was talking about the social implications. We won't get into here, but just the idea that you would walk down the street and you can see like reviews of restaurants. Say you walk by a restaurant, if you look at it, there'll be something that pop up to tell you about the restaurant ad. So it's like you can see ads in a whole different way.
But just think how amazing that would be for shut-ins or people that can't afford to go to Paris.
If
Mm-hmm.
it is
Then
more,
you'll
if it's
start walking
immersive-
around and they'll have reviews of people pop up. Like,
actually,
that's the other thing they were saying.
There's a Dark Mirror episode
One star.
about that. Yeah,
They were saying that you could, if you get to the point that you could write reviews or stuff for people, say walking down and over Barbara, it'll say something bad about you.
Uber does it.
Everyone can see that. And so this is how like you could do social ostracization or something. Yeah. So it could be,
Yeah,
it could be
that's
kind of
bad.
social
Cancel
credits.
culture.
Social credits. Yeah. That,
So I think it's coming. I don't really think people are going to wear glasses down the street. I mean, you have to wear regular glasses, but the idea of I can see this working if it's like
the
a
next thing
headset.
you'll do is you'll see people wearing masks down the street.
Yeah.
And in order
that was
No.
a great
In the
idea.
bank.
In the car by yourself.
in order to do that, though, you're going to have to have
Ultraviolet.
facial
Yeah, they all wore
recognition,
masks.
and that whole
Yeah,
facial
yeah.
recognition
Yeah.
stuff.
Him, Rob Davis putting glasses on there.
Yeah.
Well, I almost think like if people eventually can hack your glasses, could they put fake images in your glasses? You could
Oh,
always
man.
take them
Yeah.
off, I guess. But
Yeah.
One company
Yeah,
does
that
have
would be-
like you wear contacts and put glasses on over it, and it's like a double HUD.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wild.
I like the idea of like a Ready Player One world. I think that's different entering, but having your real world become the virtual world as
Augmented.
well, and having your social
So
credit.
weird.
it would change the way you see the world,
It's weird for
especially
us.
young people.
50 years from now, it won't be weird.
Yeah.
But should
Yeah,
we
I know.
be
It'll be old
encouraging
hat.
people to go outside and get some more sun?
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's what they need.
As much as
What's wrong with my
facial
VR vitamin D?
recognition, is used in some countries,
Yeah.
that we're going to see that really, really soon in some countries.
Yeah.
Barb
I
may
don't
not be
know.
joining us for our
I
next
think
episode.
isn't that what the whole meta thing with Facebook is? And isn't that like an augmented reality? Isn't that what they're going for?
Well, meta.
I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
That sounds like.
That's what the meta is supposed to be. Yeah.
Really?
Augmented reality or something.
Haven't we seen
Yeah.
enough movies to warn us of this?
I know.
We're gonna
you
have.
see all the. It's like everyone does these technologies, and you see all the horror stories in sci-fi from years ago about it, and they all seem to be self-fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yes.
In
We're gonna
some
have
way.
AI. We're gonna have robots that predict what we say and whether
Right.
we're saying the truth or not.
Yeah.
Deep
And that-
fakes. That's
weird
weird.
stuff.
Scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some scary stuff.
Yep. And
Let's take every dystopian future and just throw it against the wall.
Yeah.
I'm more
Oh,
scared
yeah.
about
Oh,
AI
we got
than any,
aliens next.
any zombies or vampires.
Yeah.
AI is the one. If we got robots that can, I mean, we're not. I think we were already past
Wait,
any Terminator robots.
Wait a minute.
What?
Zombies.
Not-
You've never been on a campus where everyone's walking around like this.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, they're not
That's
trying to
zo-
eat.
I'm living
Trying
through it right
to eat
now.
your brain. That's the
No,
thing. So you can
well,
walk around.
They
them.
don't. Well, they are like zombies.
Yeah. I'm
Actually-
inclined to agree.
I have to say, when I walk around school every day, and I'm probably the oldest person,
And all the
in each
ladies
side
are looking at you.
of-
Yeah.
Yeah. With the
I have
hat.
older.
Oh,
I'm
where
older
did
than
you
my
get that
professors.
hat?
Some of them. I would say the youngest of them are more engaging. You walk by and smile, they'll say hello. It's the professors that are in their like upper 30s, 40s that are staring at their
Yes.
phone. Or
Those college the professors, they're the teachers at college, the college level, and he's not even listening.
He's not there.
What a bummer.
What a bunch of jerks, bunch of self-righteous.
They all must pay.
There is a trend, and it's encouraging. In the last few years, the purchase of outdoor equipment and RVs and campers has skyrocketed. And is still,
Oh my gosh.
it's still going. And
Gosh, that's our business plan. Buy an open lot and park
what's-
RVs.
what's after millennials, Gen Z, they are getting away from their mobile devices and their phones and that online personality. So I think that's good. It serves a purpose. I mean, we can reach a market. We're doing it right here. This is what we're doing. But you're right. Get outside. Go do a thing. Have a skill that's not scrolling all the time. But I think this natural trend, the convenience. We talked about Amazon. You can click, add to cart, and 2 days later you got it. You don't have to go and fight the crowd at the stores. You don't have to,
and then not find
it. and so convenience of a virtual world, or what, an augmented reality world. I don't know what.
And then there's me, who's the oldest one of this group, and I've got 2 Kindles, 2 laptops, 2 iPads, an iPhone. It's like, where did I go off the rails?
But you read books on your Kindle, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, so you're already back squarely in reality again.
Every day, I read it for at least an hour or 2 a day. So yes.
Yeah. That's what Khan would say. Give a hoot. Read a book.
I think
was that Krusty, or was that who was that?
Give a hoot. Rewind. Be kind. Rewind.
Be kind. Yeah.
I'm sure kids won't even know what that means anymore.
Right. Be kind. Rewind.
They don't.
Yeah. They not.
Who remembers the song?
Well, did
with the joystick?
Did we talk about this? That with the paddle, the knobs. People are buying. Did we talk about this last time? People are buying. So get on Craigslist right now. Go to the free section. Look at all the tube televisions under the curb alert. People are buying cathode ray tube television sets so they can play their retro games, because the frame rate and all is in there's the delay, the way it talks, your N64 or your NES. It's not too late to change.
I hear you.
Prof man. I think he can rescind my diploma. He comes to my house and takes it off the wall. The people are buying tube televisions to play their old video games.
Well, because they look horrible on current digital.
Yeah. They look. I tried to play GoldenEye on a
widescreen
1080p. It was awful.
Yeah.
I'd love.
There's a new show out called Archive 88, which I've been watching. It's like a kind of a horror show, but in that, this guy collects old VHS tapes. I've heard of this before. I think my cousin did this too a little bit. Well, they'll buy random not store, but like personal VHS tapes that people record. There's a market, underground market. People buy and see what people record on or whatever. I don't know. It's like mystery tapes. It's like, and in the show, he bought like a mystery tape. Like, I'll figure out what's on this or whatever. It was really. Yeah,
that's wow. Because I'm just thinking, I just helped a old couple move from their house to assisted living, and they had mountains and mountains. He was a total video file and slides and 8mm tapes and tons of stuff, and they didn't know what to do with all this stuff.
I last Christmas, for my gifts for my kids, I took all of their VHS tapes from when they were growing up, and I had it digitized and
that's cool.
That's
cool.
Nice.
People still buy audio, the old mixtapes. People will buy those.
So
I know there was a lady in Portland that did a radio show that her entire thing was just playing mixtapes that people send into her from the 80s.
That's
different.
My son's favorite Christmas gift from his in-laws was a phonograph.
Oh yeah,
play vinyl records on
that. Yep,
that was his favorite gift.
Oh, they still sell them.
Yeah, you can buy them.
I have one.
Yeah,
I used to work in a record store, so
yeah. People still love vinyl. I mean, I know Portland, where I live, is very in the kitsch underground, and so there's entire stores that sell nothing but vinyl stuff or whatever. And then the equipment to use it. It is interesting because, I mean, you are seeing snapshots into history, especially with the VHS tapes, and people doing home recordings. You're seeing snapshots in the history, like 30, 25, 30 years old, even longer.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. Yep.
So we've got VR and augmented reality, Ready Player One on the horizon, and people are laying needle to vinyl and listening to all the hi-fi crackles, and it's awesome stuff. So we are at our end point here. So we have had a great conversation talking about the future of comics and the past and
then we went off the rails as usual.
analog technology with a little bit of a dash
We are
of Star
very
Trek,
confused.
a dash of Star Trek thrown in, and as usual,
and Star Wars, yeah,
and Star Wars. We can't
Gotta
help
have the Holy
ourselves.
Trilogy.
We can't help ourselves. If Dean were here, he and I would have been talking about which secret agent. I won't mention him by name. We're going to have a show without that name thrown in. But Sniper and Rook did come up. Sniper and Rook came up. And folks out there, thank you for supporting John's title. He is over the moon. We know it, and it's awesome. It's an awesome feeling to have a successful Kickstarter and to know that your book's going to be out there. So thank you, everybody. That will be in your hands very, very soon. Keep checking your inbox. If you didn't get an email, go to Kickstarter. Sometimes you'll miss it. You got to give us your information. Roland will hound you. And if you don't give them a shipping address, you won't get your stuff. So check your email. Make sure we've got your information so you get those rewards. And there were some digital rewards out there as well too. So check your inbox for that. Thank you to the Daytona Beach Comic Convention for your support of Silverline. That show is coming up in September. So folks, go click, like, share, all those sorts of things. Make sure you are supporting everybody on the social media world, on the digital world. Like, share, subscribe to Silverline streams. We got all our titles on indieplanet.com, silverlinecomics.com. Grab those, get those, buy them for your friends. We would love that. And always, please share them, put them out there, and tag Silverline Comics at Silverline Comics, so people can see it. You're reading these comics and you tell your friends about them. That's the way it happens. We get these titles. That's how we are out there. And if you've got T-shirt ideas, mug ideas, tattoo ideas, we'll do our best to take care of that. And I think that is it for our show for the Wednesday show. It is in the books. We have a Sunday show. We've got a Tuesday show. Don't forget about those. We've got a big Silverline crew that loves to talk comics, all things pop culture, movies, books, and just about everything.
Nerd stuff.
We geek out on nerd stuff. And I have been your fill-in host for the evening. My name's Scott. We got Aaron, we got Rob, we got Barb, we got Rory, we got John, we got Brent. Thank you guys, and we're gonna say goodnight, and we'll see you next week. And in the meantime, as always, make mine. Good night, everybody.
My name is Ross Ritchie from Boom Studios, and make mine Silverline.